Practice? You mean you can't afford a Gibson?
Yeah, you know what, guys? The gear manufacturers have it right. It's the guitar you have right now that is holding you back, and only spending thousands upon thousands of dollars is going to make you a better guitar player. If you're playing something like this 10S, just throw that away. That's nowhere near good enough for you, and the only way you're going to improve is to spend a whole lot more money. Gotta love it when the gear manufacturers have your best interests at heart. All right, how's it going, everybody? It's Friday. It means it's time for SMG Viewers Comments. This week we got something really special. We've got my brand new strings from SIT. Look at this. We got 6 strings. We got 7 strings. Got my ugly mug on the back here, and we've even got some bass models as well. Gonna have some information on that coming up real soon. But for right now, let's get to your comments and questions.
Can't wait to see the Gibson fanboys coming in strong, suggesting you only trash Gibson because you're on Fender's payroll. If the last few months have shown us anything, it's that there's no end to the stupidity of a corporate fanboy when it comes to defending their chosen brand.
Adam, I fear you may be right. And this thing, I wish I was on Fender's payroll. Fender's definitely not paying me anything to say good things about their guitars. They just sent me a quality instrument. Maybe Gibson could take a lesson from the guys in the Fender paint department. Hell, Gibson could take a lesson from the guys in the LTD paint department, for fuck's sakes. Point being, I'll call quality out when I see it, and I'll call shit out when I see it as well. And if it hurts somebody's feelings, well, hey, too fucking bad. Maybe next time judge a guitar by the quality of the instrument being produced rather than the name on the headstock.
Message to the idiots out there, the Bogren thing is for people like me who have much better things to do than to waste hours trying to get a decent tone for a fucking demo. When it's time to record and mix, I'll hire someone who knows what they're doing. I'm not a mix engineer. I have to spend my limited time writing and practicing, and I just want decent sounding demos. On a different subject, I studied mechanical engineering with a master's in control systems, so every day I delved into stuff like mechanical properties, vibration, signal capture, and processing. Suddenly I found myself being attacked in forums like Talk Bass and a local Portuguese one called Forma Musica because I was pointing out some of the things being spread as gospel didn't fit scientific knowledge and that no one was presenting scientific tests to prove what they were saying. I was just a stupid kid and thinks that reading some engineering books teaches something about how music works.
Man, that's the thing. There's so much to unpack with that one. I'll start with the end of that first. Yes, the minute you start bringing science into the myth and destroying myths, that's when the ad hominems start. They can't come at you with better science, so they'll just attack the character. I did that tube test video there a couple years ago, and I'm like, look, these all pretty much sound the same. Yeah, there's differences in volume, but the tone is not shifting because tubes are not equalizers. I got called every name in the book for doing that, because how dare I go up against some 40, 50 years of fucking guitar player dogmatic bullshit with some actual observable results. How dare I bring in measurable results into the argument when, changing your tubes magically changes the sound of your amp. No, it fucking doesn't! Get it through your thick skulls, it's just marketing bullshit. I think I might actually do a video down the road where we take a look at a couple of different tube websites, buy some different tubes, and swap them out and show you guys what's really going on and recite their descriptions for how they sound. They have much expanded sound field. Like, what the fuck does that shit even mean? Anyway, as per your thing about the Bogren amp knob, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it does one thing. But if you don't know what a good recorded guitar sound is supposed to sound like, especially for one that works in a mix as opposed to one that sounds good just by itself, yeah, it's a great jumping off point. It's a great piece of gear to learn with. And if you do want to become a sound engineer, but you don't know where to start or what you should shoot for, it's also a great place to learn from. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And if you're struggling at home, I definitely recommend grabbing a copy. At only $50, it's really hard to say no.
There's something oddly beautiful about being a fan of this channel for over 7 years at this point, and it's still the fact that you can see Glenn change his perspective about certain topics along the way during the years as new technology arrives or new ways to do stuff appear. Always willing to change his mind when there's new evidence about it.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. I mean, that's what being scientifically minded is all about, is you change your conclusion when new evidence presents itself. Now, what do you call something that doesn't change its perspective despite the evidence? You call that religion, because religion is based on bullshit. And it's impossible for it to change its narrative because it just falls to pieces if it does, especially when new evidence presents itself. And I don't want to be a religious fanatic. I want to learn as much as I can, and that means approaching things with an open mind. Now, when I started the show in 2014, Programmed drums sucked. They really did. There's no better word for it. And when I bought my first set of V drums in 2000, they sucked as well. But here we are, many, many years later, and the technology has improved. Now with programmed drums, we can bring in things like bleed tracks, and that adds an element of realism to the programmed drums. As long as you don't 127 the shit out of your kick drums and have everything 100% on the fucking on the grid, you can actually do some pretty convincing recreations of what a real drummer would play like. And I think that's fantastic because that opens up the tech to a lot of people and we can get better realistic sounding performances. Now, another thing that's gone along with that to the detriment of music is a lack of songwriting skills. I do mix reviews every Monday and I get a lot of riff salad, but I don't get very many really great songs. And when we do, they really stick out. We've got a couple of favorites that keep coming back to the show. They usually blow our hair back and they're just fucking awesome. But there's a lot of guys who really need to take some classes there.
Holy shit, I learned today how to humanize properly. Stupid me having going through every single drum hit one by one until this month. I've been scared to calculate how many hours I've wasted in my life because of this.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's like the automatic humanize function in Reaper for MIDI. Definitely saves a lot of grief, kind of randomizes things a little bit, gives you some sliders and stuff. And if you guys are wondering what that's all about, I'm going to have a link to that video at the end of this one where you can I show you guys how to make your programmed drums much more realistic. It's really not that difficult. It's definitely worth checking out. Stick around to the end of the video. I'll have a link to it.
I've been waiting for this since I started watching your channel.
Hey man, technology changes and I have to change my conclusions to go along with those changes. Otherwise, yeah, I'm a raving lunatic and I'm just full of shit. So I'd rather, take a look at something and go, okay, wow, there's been some improvements made here. Maybe we can do something with this finally. I mean, I hated amp sims when they first came out. Like when the original Line 6 pod came out, I remember buying one and being really pissed off with it. And, things didn't start changing until the Axe effects came along. And even then, it took a couple generations for the technology to really be convincing. Now we've got a multitude of really amazing amp sims, so you don't have to drop a whole lot of money to get a really good guitar sound coming out of your computer and onto your recordings. I think that's phenomenal. Once again, we need songwriting to march along with the technology, and that's going to be up to you guys.
Something I really soon discovered in Reaper is a little JS plugin descriptively titled MIDI Velocity and Timing Humanizer that does exactly that, but without changing the MIDI itself, although it is some random every time, so never exactly the same each playback. I use this plugin a lot in my virtual instruments. Now having those tiny random flams adds an incredible amount of character to the instruments. Most recently, I put it on an acoustic guitar and piano VST, and it really changes a lot for those.
Static Guard, dude, thanks so much for sharing with the class. I'm always down to learn new cool stuff. Once again, that's called the JS MIDI Velocity and Timing Humanizer. That's something I want to investigate. I want to try putting that up on Extinction Level Event. Those of you guys who haven't checked that out already, I'd highly recommend doing it. It's a great alternative to what's out there. It sounds fantastic, and we put a heavy emphasis on the realism, but that sounds like something really cool as well. The JS plugins are, of course, Reaper exclusive, and there's a lot of them out there, and they're all free, and they're just fucking amazing, and there's literally thousands you can get. That's something I'm definitely going to investigate. Maybe I get to do a video on that in the very near future. Make sure you stay tuned for that one.
Stay away from Denver hardcore. What's in Denver to go there in the first place?
Dude, I've been to Denver a couple times. You know what? I don't know. I didn't stay very long, that's for sure. I love that. Stay away from Denver hardcore. That was great. Of course, that's referencing the video that keeps on giving. Crowd killing is for complete morons. Funny, that was done a couple of years before the pandemic even, and shows ended. Now they're back, and I'm guessing, I don't know if crowd killing's still a thing. And if it is, smarten up, you dumb motherfuckers. Seriously. The injuries aren't cute. That's the whole fucking problem there. Yeah, it's fun to run around and mosh and stuff like that, but great. But if you're there to hurt people, go fuck yourself. Seriously. Hey guys, today's brought to you by SIT Strings, and I'm proud to announce my very own SIT branded SMG strings. These have got, like I said, these got my ugly mug on the back, and we've got two sets. These are made for basically down tuning. These are 10 to 54s for the 6-string set, and we got 10 to 62 on the 7-string set. So if you like to down tune to say like a drop C or drop A, something like that, we made these strings with you guys in mind. I think they're awesome. They're on all my guitars. I absolutely love them, and I'm more than happy to be working with SIT and put my name on it. I'm going to have, and of course, we've got bass strings available as well. We're going to have links to everything in the description below, and I'll have all the pricing here at the bottom of the screen just so I don't screw this up. But yes, please check out a set of these. You can order them online. SIT are awesome people. They've been around for a very long time. Very cool string brand, and once again, super proud to be putting my name on them. Check them out because they're not only awesome, they're also affordable. Anyway, let's get to the Butthurt of the week.
Glenn is the angry music producer that complains about everything and forgot what playing music was all about.
Here's the thing. I thought I knew what music was all about, and then I started making records, and then I learned what music actually was about. You know what it's about? It's about teaching dumb motherfuckers how to play their own instruments, because they don't come in prepared. It's about teaching people to fucking try and remember the arrangements to their own fucking songs that they didn't bother to learn before they came in the studio and started playing you hourly. That's what music really is. It's dealing with idiots and trying to fucking maintain a smile and a semblance of professionalism while you watch these dum-dums fuck up their way through their own records. That's what music really is. It's like watching a group of imbeciles trying to hump a doorknob. That's what music really is. It used to be this awesome, artistic, great thing. And that went out the fucking window when we stopped listening to it and started looking at it when we put it on a screen. And then it became this quest for absolute perfection. And perfection is the enemy of interesting. Music used to be something amazing. Nowadays, it's just math on a screen played by people who don't know how to play their instruments.
Wow! Just after watching this video, I went to band practice and used a James Hetfield White Fang Plectrum Jazz 3 1.14 and came back with the EMG headset. They're smaller than my normal Plectrum, and instant momentum in my pitch squeals was amazing. Can't believe it took that long to find this little gem of knowledge. Thank you. Of
course, you're referencing the How I Got Better on Guitar video, and I had mentioned I moved to jazz-style picks. This was on Christian Vay's suggestion so I could get better pinch harmonics, and it really did make all the difference. So if you're struggling with your pinch harmonics, yeah, try maybe a smaller pick. You might be able to get more articulation.
Thanks for taking the time to talk about the boring stuff. It is why I subbed to your channel. You'll become my go-to insight for the esoteric world of music.
Hey John, really appreciate it, and if you missed it, please make sure to check out the very boring video that was how to make your program drums more realistic. Gonna have a link for that at the end of the video.
Hey Glenn, just want to let you know that according to some recent reviews from people paying out of pocket and not getting review samples, HB is starting to go downhill and not producing what they once were. Everything from bad setups to just what I would consider unplayable, sharp frets, buzzing, terribly unbalanced, horribly muddy pickups, etc.
Yeah, you know, you're not the only person who's saying they've been getting crap from Harley Benton. And once again, I've got something on order. I did a stealth buy. It should be in the mail by the time this episode airs. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. I really want the consumer experience. I mean, like, that's the thing. We have to consider, is it true about these stories that you're seeing or reading, or is it fake news? Is it, you know, maybe the pissed off Gibson customer who's mad that he spent $3,000 on a guitar and somebody's getting something really great for a couple $100? Would I put it past some people? Of course not. You know, the whole fake news thing is a reality, unfortunately. So on this show, we're trying to cut through the bullshit. So once again, that's why we're doing the stealth buy, so we can actually get the consumer experience. And if Harley Benton is sending out shit, you can believe me, if I get a shit guitar from them, they are going to get called out on that crap.
You may not be a guitar teacher, but you can teach. Anytime you learn a thing, you can teach that thing to someone, even a stuffed animal. It'll build confidence, well, it helps the chops quite a bit more than expected. It's one of the biggest lessons I give to my students, to show someone else what I just showed them. In building your own confidence with a thing by showing another, you'll also reinforce the lessons you received in your brain. We remember less of what we see, hear, and read. We tend to remember what we're active participants of. Keep it up, Glenn. Have you considered getting an occasional teacher tutor on the show to show you something live? I know it's not the focus of the channel. It might be cool to see the rare times where the guitarist with you in the studio or elsewhere.
Yes, in fact, I was talking with Perfecto de Castro when we were both at Gear Street last summer at Henning's place. Perfecto is an awesome teacher, and I think it'd be great to have him on the show. I might also see if we can get Robert Baker to come guest in here as well, who's an amazing teacher as well. I met Robert at my very first NAMM back in 2015, and yeah, he's just an awesome dude and a brilliant player, and it's been great to see his show take off and be super successful as well. We've got our channels both kind of took off right around the same time. And, you know, he's only a few hours away. Maybe I could go to his place and do a video. Would you guys like to see me do a collab with Robert Baker? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you.
It takes a lot of balls to just post raw take with no processing of just an exercise you've been working on. Keep up the good work, Crom.
Well, I don't know. I think that's how we learn, is by showing the struggle. That's the thing. I mean, like, you can edit out all the crap and go, oh, look how awesome I am, when you're really not that awesome. That happens an awful lot in the online world. I still want to make the video called How YouTube Drummers Are Lying to You, because, I can watch some of the stuff. I've recorded enough real drums in my time and just go, oh, come on, this is so fucking phony. It's not even close. Guitar playing, maybe it's a little different and whatnot. But drumming, you can usually spot fake drumming pretty fucking easily, that's for sure. But yeah, I think for us to learn that, and remind ourselves that we're all human, we have to leave the mistakes in and show the struggle and show how we're progressing. That's when stuff has actual value, and we can all learn from it instead of just, showing off.
Awesome video, Glenn. I'll learn more from you in this video than these so-called guitar wizards on YouTube. Especially the brutal part is what hooked me right away. We'll make that my daily routine. Is it possible to attend the 42 Gear Street event this year, or is that only for the chosen ones? If I can't find info on the internet for this internet, it would be cool to meet you and these other guys. Thanks, man.
I do appreciate it. Looks like a few of you guys got some use out of that, how I got better on guitar video. Glad I could be of help. That's the whole point of the show, is how can I help you get better at what you're doing? Most of it's, centered around recording, but a bunch of you guys made a few comments about my guitar playing, so I thought, okay, well, here's how I got better. Maybe it can help you. As for the 42 Gear Street event, that is invite only. That's put on by my good friend Henning Pauly over at HP42 Studios. It's his event. He's calling the shots. You'd have to ask them if we could ever have a public day, but it's kind of at his house, so I don't think that's ever quite gonna happen. When we did Toman Gearhead University, we did have at Toman there a couple years ago, we did have a public day. Hopefully we're gonna get one next year. We were supposed to have one this year, but I got canceled. That kind of sucked, especially because I'd already booked my flight. So I wound up having to spend an extra week in Europe with nothing to do. Oh no, that was horrible. Turns out I got to go to White Sea Studio in Arnhem in Netherlands, and we hung out and did a video together, and that was an awful lot of fun. Met him at Studio Scene. He's a really good dude. If you haven't checked out his channel, please do. He's got some really interesting shit, that's for sure. So yeah, it was kind of nice to actually get a couple days off there. Got to go to the German Film Museum in Frankfurt. That was really fucking cool. Got to see some super old film technology, like kaleidoscopes and various projection methods and that kind of stuff, from the 1800s and the early 1900s. That's some really cool stuff. If you're a film geek like I am, yeah, that kind of stuff's really neat. As for Gear Street, that's Henning's event. You'd have to ask him. I definitely don't want to step on his toes. I know how hard he works to put that on, however, so adding a public day would probably be a lot of extra work he probably doesn't want to do.
Oh man, good on you. This is so impressive and inspiring. Here's a question. Do you use a practice amp or something like a Fender Mustang Micro when practicing at home, or no amplification at all? I've tried practicing quietly in the living room so my wife and I can see a bit more of each other, but I find the lack of auditory feedback very dispiriting. Haven't bought any gadgets because of my fear of it catching gas, and we don't have a music store where I can try them out, but eventually I'm going to have to.
Usually when I'm working on runs when I'm at home, I'm just not plugged into anything, but I do recommend plugging into something so you can hear how clean you're playing, so you can work on your technique and clarity and all that kind of stuff. I think that's a big problem with a lot of guitar players that come into the studio. They don't play amplified, so they don't develop their technique to play amplified, especially bass players. I've noticed that's a huge problem. So yes, play amplified when you can. That being said, I'm just looking at something off camera I've got here I'm going to be reviewing very soon. It's a plug-in headphone amp, and it's actually really cool. You can control it by the phone and whatnot. It'd be probably just the thing you're looking for, so you can play with an amplified type circuit, but you're not going to, blow the roof off your house or anything like that with volume. Definitely a cool compromise.
Seeing this video pop up is a perfect way to start the day. And it's great to see the comments on this are awesome. Less than an hour and it's already full of people grateful for the advice as well and throwing their favorite exercises. Would you be considering grabbing your favorite advice and exercises from this thread for a video, or making a video on bad practice techniques to avoid? Seriously, Glenn, you've come a long way in both your videos and you're playing. We're all grateful. Keep fucking rocking.
Thanks, Cody. I think that's a great idea. Actually, again, maybe I can ask Perfecto about that. Maybe we should do a collab video there and talk about bad practice routines to avoid. I think that'd be a really good idea. Great suggestion, man. Let's see if we can put that one on the show. Thanks. All right, guys, that's it for the show. Don't forget to check out the SIT strings. I'll have a link for that in the description below. They're my favorite strings. They're just fucking awesome. Definitely recommend checking them out. And of course, if you want to get your program drums sounding much more realistic, please check out this video here, and it's going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to make things sound just a little bit more human.